Today I'm going to be walking through a hot lap of the Brands Hatch Rallycross track in the Subaru WRX STi Rallycross car. So approaching into turn one, we're going to brake it when the 150 board is at about at the 8 pillar. We're going to brake hard, 60 to 70%, and then we're going to be aiming for this dirty part of the asphalt right here. Once we get to the start of the sand trap, we're going to start to trail off the brake nice and smooth, and we're going to turn into the corner, and we want to stay nice and tight to the right over there because our apex is right here at the guardrail. So we want to stay nice and tight to the right. Now we pushed out a little more than I would normally like, but this is still manageable for a good hot lap. Once we get to the bottom of this hill right here a little bit, we're going to lift, give it a little dab of brake, and turn in. Now you don't want too much rotation right here because your goal is to kind of try and make this as straight of a line as you can. So that way you rotate the car right into the corner. Your right two tires kind of bump over those sausage curves, and that's going to set you up good for the next turn. So we turn to the right, lift off the throttle to rotate a little bit, bump over the curbs, get back on the throttle. And we're using the throttle right here to manage our slide. So we're still trying to pull the car through, but we're also trying to set up for this next turn up here. So we're going to start our pendulum turn at about the end of this, these blue barriers on the left. So to do a pendulum turn, you're going to turn opposite of the corner very briefly, and then you're going to lift brake and turn into the corner heavily. And that's going to rotate the car, and that's going to give us a nice, good slide through the corner. So you can see right here, I turn out a little bit, back in, and on the brake and off the throttle. So now you can kind of coast in for the initial part of the turn to keep you nice and tight here and get back on the throttle to help control the arc going through that corner. Now, when you come out on the exit here, you want to be to the middle to left side of this jump right here. And when you're going off the jump, you can control the pitch of the car in the air by using the brakes and the throttle. But I like to lift just before I get airborne, and that helps give you a nice smooth flow through the air. We're going to be aiming just to the left of the 50 board. We want to get to the right side of the track. Now, right here, this is a very tricky corner because you want to start braking on the asphalt to reduce some of your speed, but you also want to use the asphalt to help transfer some of the weight in the car to give you a nice, good slide through this corner. So again, we're going to start a pendulum turn opposite, and then we're going to turn in off the brake, off the gas, on the brake a little bit to start rotating the car. Now you want to be as tight to this wall as you can. The more you push up in here, the more time you can lose. You can lose a lot of time in this corner here by pushing up too far. And so your ideal goal is to be as close to here as you can. So that way you can make this nice straight line to the right side of that first IRX board coming out of this turn. So we definitely pushed that a little bit too wide there. Probably lost maybe 3 to 4 tenths. And so we're going to push out to the left side of the track in here so we can keep our speed up. Our goal is to aim towards the 50 board on right here. So now when we get towards the 50 board, we're not going to brake too hard. We just want to settle the front end and grip it up a little bit. So we're going to give it a little bit of brake. And then once we get to about this extra wide part right here, that's when we can kind of start getting back on the throttle. So we're going to get back on the throttle, roll on it nice and smooth, so that way you don't over-rotate or push the front end a little bit. So now we're looking to get the car with the right two wheels on the right side of this line. So we want it to stay at nice and tight right here up by this curb. So once we hit that little curb, the car starts to settle again. Then we're going to get back onto the brakes so we can reduce our speed and grip up for the next corner. So you want to start turning, and you can have about a car's width of space between the wall right here on this initial part of this turn. So you want to bring it in nice and tight. We pushed that a little too far. You want to bring it in nice and tight and then be able to roll on the throttle, and you should be about 100%. throttle on the last third of that turn. And then so for the final corner right here, there's kind of two ways you can do this line, and it all depends on how worn the exit of this joker is. The exit of this joker, if it's very worn, your best benefit is to get as close to this white line as you can around here. So now this part's not too bad, but if there was much more dirt out here, you can take this out a little more and still carry more speed, because once you go through the dirt, you're going to start unsettling the car, and you can slide, push the front end a little bit going into your next lap. So that's a walkthrough of the Brands Hatch Rallycross circuit and the Subaru WRX STi.